In today's pop beat breakdown video, we are going to be breaking down a Kygo pop EDM slash house type beat. My name is Joe Gorchi and I'm the music producer for Pop Beat Breakdowns, the channel all about breaking down productions and talking about the technical aspects and how I built the production from the ground up. The inspiration behind this channel is from my experience from learning music production, going through the academic route of university, always finding that actually the best way for me to learn music production was actually watching other music producers break down their own productions and trying to take away any tips and tricks that they give you and implement them in my own productions. And I feel that has helped make me the producer I am today. So that is why I created this channel. If you are new to this channel, by the way, smash that subscribe button right now, as it's the best way to support the channel. Other than that mandatory out the way, let's get into Logic and let's break down this Kygo type beat. Okay, so we are now in Logic and this is the production behind the song. So I modeled this off of Lose Somebody by Kygo, but you could also put this in the same bracket as an Avicii type beat, because I'm a big fan of Avicii's productions as well as Kygo. So when I was making this beat, I had them influences in mind. Now, for those of you who watch my channel will know this, but if you're new to this channel, I always put the order of the tracks in the order I actually added them in, so you can get the best idea of how I built this production up. So today, if you listen to Lose Somebody, you will know it's very piano influenced at the start. So the first thing that I added in was the piano synth. So there you go, that's a piano. Now, if you want to know what piano this is a very compressed piano, because I normally find with pop EDM and house it's good to have that compressed piano sound. And I actually use the compressed pop by The Maverick from Native Instruments. I always speak about on my actual YouTube channel, Joe Gorchi Music, about how good I find Native Instruments software instruments are, and I'm a big fan of them. Not endorsed or paid to say it, I just love Native Instruments. And the Maverick comes in here with the compressed piano pop. Now, if you wanted to do this in Logic, you can use the Steinway piano and just make sure you really amplify the compression, and you can reach a similar desired effect if you wanted to create that sound. So the next thing that I wanted to add was some rhythmic synths to really sort of like build the pre-chorus and the chorus. So I'll quickly play the pre-chorus here because I put a track stack together. And again, on this channel, one of the biggest bits of advice I can give for originality, always make sure that you're layering textures together or layering different synths to create your own sound, because these are all stock plugins, by the way. You got the software instance rather. So you've got the Dream Dancer, the classics, which is a Logic preset, and you've got the tiny pluck box again, which is in the pluck synth section. Now, if you have them by yourselves, then that's not really being original, other than the original melody that you're creating for this. But if you then blend two sounds together, all of a sudden you've got something which is a different sound altogether, which makes it original. So just always keep that in mind when you're producing. You don't always have to go out and buy all the latest software instruments. You can actually use what you've got and blend together to create sounds you want. So anyway, the Dream Dance is what came in first. As you can hear, I wanted it to be really melodic, and then when I added in the tiny plucked box, this is sort of like a counter melody, more like arpeggios they're playing. Now put them together and you get this really cool, like, bouncy rhythmic sound in the background. And then just with the piano, all of a sudden we got loads of movement in the production. And you feel like this pre-chorus is building to something all of a sudden. So with that in mind, now we go to our hook synths, because I wanted to actually really start getting an idea of how the song was going to hit people. So I first added this in, which is, I don't believe it's actually Massive Source. I changed it. Yes, so Contact. So for the hook today, I've used Glaze, which you've probably seen in the past couple of videos, where I love this. It's a all vocal based synthesizer, but it sounds incredible. I went for today, I think it was the tone Ooh from the lead synth section, and this is the melody I came up with. So what I like to do for EDM pop type songs, or house rather, is I like to sometimes repeat the hook in the chorus, but I like to change up and add to the sound already to make it sound more interesting. Because if I just had this hook here and then I put it in the chorus, it's not really adding any development to the production. So I always add extra layers for the chorus to slightly change up the sound, so the listener's like, oh, it's the same melody, but that's different. So I did the artificial harp, which I believe is yes, that's right, it's Omnisphere. So again, if you don't have Omnisphere, don't be disheartened, because this is just the simple practice of blending sounds together. And I just happened to find this sound, which I thought was quite cool. Kind of 80s leads. And when you add it with these two, you get a completely new sound. So just from adding these first ideas in, we've already got the basis of our like main drop in the chorus. It sounds really cool. I love it. And again, all we've added, we haven't really implemented that many ideas yet, and this already feels like a pre-chorus in the making. So the next thing I want to add now is the pads, and more specifically, one of the favourite techniques that I like to use when it comes to pop EDM is using a sidechain compressor to create a throbbing effect on the pads. So when you listen to these pads right now, I've got the Airways, which are, by the way, these are all Logic presets I've used for the pads. You've got Airways, Breathy Vox, and Airways again. So you can hear that throb. So one thing I haven't got to yet is we've got the drums here, but I want to create that throb effect so when there's that gap from the kick, there's something there. So on the channel here, we've got a compressor, and you can notice this arrow. That is what Logic uses to indicate when we have sidechained to something. So I've sidechained up here, I've gone to input instrument, and then I've clicked the kick. So every time the kick plays, watch what the compressor does here. So we create that throbbing effect. So basically, to put it as simply as possible, every time the kick is triggered, it triggers the compressor in the Airways channel here, completely squashing the vocal right down as close to a 0 or close to whatever you set it, creating that throbbing effect. And I put it also on this other Airways one as well, but I think I turned it off in the end because I didn't like it. And again, it just creates something a bit more interesting for the chorus, a little bit more of a rhythmic quality. So it sounds like this. I may add at this point, I did change up the melody here if you're wondering why this sounds like there's something new in there. But if we play from here, you don't necessarily hear it, but you feel it. And that's sometimes the best kind of production implementations. So the next thing that I wanted to add now was the bass. And one quick side thing, I always like to categorize into track stacks when I'm building a track. It's really good for workflow and organizations. So again, like the pads, everything's gone. And I've done it the same for the bass as well, because we have stacks and bass. We've got the 90s stereo synth bass, the Alphabet City Boundless bass, and Dirty Planet to create the bass sound that I was looking for. So let's have a listen to all the different textures here. So first we got the 90s stereo synth bass. This is just covering the low end. You probably can't even hear this unless you've got some good headphones on. And I added this one in. A little bit more of a high end, a little bit more distorted dirt. I like that. And then the last thing I needed was the punch, so then I brought in the Dirty Planet. Just to cover the low end. And I was sort of only had this soloed because this is sort of like the highs and the lows together, because there's very high bright pads covering the higher spectrum of the atmosphere, and then the bass is covering the low end. So I just wanted to listen to these two together. And I'm like, yep, they work together, so that's cool. Now the next thing is the drums. The drums is obviously the last thing, but that's really important for a track. Everything here, this is all Logic. This is just, as you may have seen in previous videos, I love using the drum machine. Drum machine is my favorite thing in Logic at the moment. Just blending loads of different sounds together, as you can see, choosing, if you click one on here, you can change up any sound, so you can have any sort of snare, kick, whatever you want, programmed in, and it links to your MIDI keyboard. And I could break down, but you know what a beat is. So this is the beat I came up with. Making sure that there's fills every 4 bars to keep it interesting. Notice the claps that I do every 8 bars. Sorry, that might be every 4 bars. I'm losing count. So every 2 bars I try and have some little fill, and every 4 bars another fill. Keeps it interesting. Now, for a song like this, you need to have your builds. So, especially for the first chorus, I'm going to play you everything together because you'll get the best idea of this. So for the pre-chorus, if you really want to create a nice build in your productions, you obviously need risers, which I'll get to in a minute, but the percussion, you have to have something rhythmic driving on throughout the pre-chorus. So listen, this is what I've done here. So if we play from the first one, because it's just piano, then it goes into, there we go. So just start with a shaker. And I thought I'll just hold off, wait, give the audience a chance, and then we'll implement. Hi-hats, a clap on the offbeat, and then we're going to do some rolling snares. Now, again, that sounds all well and good, but I always think when you're building to a pre-chorus, you can't do it without any sort of like rises or descendings, because it doesn't sound right. So that was good, but now we need to implement all the white noise and the crashes and the rises. So that's where this all comes in. So these are all just samples either from Logic, which I always bounce out anything that I'm going to reverse the audio of, because I feel like I have more creative control over the audio, and other stuff I've taken from Splice, ones I like. So this is basically all the different rises and ascendings that I've got in. I'm just going to play you the pre-chorus again. Notice all of a sudden there's atmosphere, the white noise. So imagine there'll be a vocalist here, so this space is covered, and now we want to start building. And this is the main riser here. And I love to give that silence before the drop, because it makes the drop feel so much bigger. If you give the audience that silence, like, oh, what's going to happen next? So that's why I didn't put anything in here. You'll hear that the melody comes in, but that silence is everything in these type of productions, because it's that moment of breath which gives the audience like that chance, like, or that indication that this song's about to drop. So that's why I had a silence in there. I could have had the drum roll going all the way up to here, but I just feel like it's too much. Sometimes less is more. So just have a listen to this drop and how the chorus hits. And I just think it just makes it so much bigger. And again, that's it really. That's the whole production. There's other ideas which I implement every so through, and you can see everything sort of develops a little bit. I had tried to have things in different places. So going by the rule every 4 bars, make sure there's some sort of change to keep the listener engaged. And you can hear I have a different melody, trying to change things up throughout the song. And then we've also got a breakdown section where I cut the piano completely out, because the piano was the ever-present thing throughout, and there's a lot of repetition in this kind of music, so I always like to try and take something out at different points and make the breakdown almost feel like a completely different part of the song altogether. So that's why I took the piano out. But yeah, guys, that is the production altogether. So I'm now going to play this from the pre-chorus to the end of this chorus here, so you can get a full effect of this production, and then we'll talk again after that. So there you go, guys. That was my Kygo Avicii. We could call it tropical house, pop, EDM type beats. If you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button, because it's the best way to support the channel. And also comment below any recommendations for future pop beat breakdown videos I do. Obviously, I have to make the beat first, so getting these comments really helps in taking the direction of this channel forward. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Keep making music, and I will see you in the next video.